Hi and welcome to Stella's Mezza. On today's episode, I bring you my pineapple glazed ham recipe. Now this is what you'll need. Some pure pineapple juice, 2 cans of sliced pineapples, some unsulfured molasses, cinnamon powder, ground mustard, ground cloves, and ground coriander seeds. You'll also need some light brown sugar. Now here I have some toothpicks, and I'll show you what you're going to use this for. An instant read oven safe thermometer. You'll need a basting brush or a baster, some aluminum foil, and of course you will need some smoked ham. I'm using a 9.5 pound bone-in smoked ham, and some maraschino cherries that you'll see as we proceed. Now the first thing you do is start mixing the ingredients together to create the basting sauce. So what I'm doing there is I'm adding the ground mustard into the pineapple juice, and then you also want to add the molasses into the mixture. Now this concoction is what we're going to use to baste our ham as it bakes. What that means is once it starts baking in the oven, the ham will release some juices that'll go back into the pan that you're cooking it in. And once you pour this concoction up over the ham, the juices of the ham and this concoction will mix together, and you're going to use that brush or baster to drizzle those juices back up over the ham to keep it moist and to infuse it with the flavors. So once you add that molasses into that juice, you want to go ahead and give it a stir. All right, now I'm going to add the ground cloves and the ground coriander and the light brown sugar. And I'm going to give it a stir. All right, there we have our ground cinnamon that I'm going to add into the cup as well. And I'm using a sprouted cup because that's easier to pour the mixture over the ham as opposed to, just trying to pour it over something else. So this, I find, it works easiest for me. Now we want to combine everything well and make sure there's no powders floating up over top. And then you're going to pour this over the ham right before you start brushing the juices over the ham. Now in this roasting pan, I have the ham, and I'm going to start attaching the pineapple slices and the maraschino cherries up over the ham. Now the purpose for doing this is to make it look nice and festive, and also as it bakes, the juices from the pineapples and the maraschino cherries and all the spices we added into that concoction helps give this ham a nice sweet flavor. So there I just insert the toothpicks into the ham, and you want to make sure you leave the toothpicks sticking out. That way it's easier to pull out once you've finished baking your ham. You don't want anybody choking on a toothpick. All right, I've also inserted the instant read thermometer onto the ham, and I'm making sure it's not touching the bone, and I put the extra pineapple slices at the bottom of the pan. That way it takes up the flavors from the roasting ham, and it makes it very nice and salty. That's very delicious, a combination of the salty and the sweet. And you want to save some of that concoction that you use to baste the ham as it cooks. Now what I'm doing here is I'm lightly covering or tenting that foil up over my ham. And remember, your oven is heating at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You will bake this ham in the oven for 2.5 hours at most. But make sure that once you pull out the ham, after the end of that period, that your thermometer reads at 160 degrees Fahrenheit, and that way you know your pork is cooked all the way through. You don't want to serve up an uncooked piece of ham that's not good for your health. Now once it's cooked, you can see the edges look nice and crispy. The thermometer is registered to 160 degrees Fahrenheit, and you want to let it rest for at least 30 minutes, and then you can start slicing it up and serving it up. This is so delicious, and I hope you get to try it for Thanksgiving or Christmas. So thank you for joining me this time, and I hope you join me next time as I take your taste buds on another culinary safari. Thank you, and Karibu to Stella's Meza.
Yeah, 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 yeah.